Hey, this is not Optimal Living Daily. Well, it is, but it sort of isn't also. This is highly unusual. I have a bonus Thursday episode for you because I'm excited to announce our newest show. It's outside of our typical narration stuff and a unique idea in the relationship space. It's called Date Us, and the first season features listeners of the Optimal Living Daily Network who are looking for dates, but tired of typical online dating sites where people don't actually take the time to get to know someone. And now you can get to know people, again, listeners of our shows for the most part. If you want to reach out to them, you can. Instructions are in the episode. This is an idea that came to me randomly and I thought would be a really fun experiment, and my girlfriend wanted to host it, so I said, sure, let's do it. It's fun for people who aren't looking for dates too. You can share the episode with a single friend, you can play matchmaker, or just listen to OLD listeners' stories. They're fun to listen to. So please subscribe in your favorite podcast app. The show is called Date Us. And here's an episode for you as a little bonus.
This is Date Us, the show that is giving you a chance to get to know singles looking for love. There is so much more to a person than a profile or a photo. In every episode, you'll be able to hear an eligible single and get better insight into who they are. If you like what you hear, you can ask them out or play matchmaker and share with your friends. I'm your host, Olivia. I got the chance to have a really great conversation with Philippa in this episode. She is 25 years old, calls the city of Irvine her home, and is ready for a relationship with the right man. Philippa can kick some serious booty and is an accomplished athlete and fighter. You have a Muay Thai fight coming up in a few weeks, and you are the national Taekwondo champion in Croatia. Tell me more about this. Is this something you're always interested in as a child, and how did you kind of get involved in all these sports?
Oh, yes, definitely. My whole family has been involved since I was very little. My sister was the first one who started it, so I just kind of followed her steps through it. Eventually, we grew up, and she was like, oh, I don't want to do this. And she went into her, learning English and learning languages while I kind of stuck with it. And I went from training to teaching, and then I was like, oh, I still want to be a student. I don't want to be an instructor just yet. So I'm now expanding my scope of skills onto other martial arts, and it's been very fun, and I'm very much looking forward to September 28th and fighting for the first time. It's very exciting.
That's so cool. How old were you when you started?
I was 4 years old, and I started at the age of 4, and then I started competing at the age of 6, and then at the age of 13, I got my black belt, and that's when I started traveling and really taking it serious. And I really saw how hard work can pay off and can take me places. It's not just for pure pleasure. It's just in fun. It's just more for, it built my character and I traveled, I saw, and I met a lot of people, and it's been just really fun.
Nice. So when you were young and doing this, was it ever work for you, or did you just have so much fun being immersed and getting to travel and getting to do all these, fights and things like that?
I did have days where I did think of it, oh, I don't want to go. This is too much. It's work. But I think my team that I grew up with were very motivated, and we all motivated each other. So it was always fun going. There was never, we all have those days where you don't want to do it. Yeah. But we always kind of look forward to oh, my friend's going to be there, so I'm going to go do it. Or, oh my God, I'm going to get to go see Paris with a group of my best friends. So it was always another motivation that was part of just hard work, and I think that's what made it fun.
So I was never in any sports teams, but the only reason why I would want to be in one is exactly what you said, the camaraderie and having a group of really tight friends and winning something together, and it just sounds so amazing.
Yeah, in fact, today I'm meeting up with all my teammates later on, and we're just watching fights and having fun and getting together and really kind of having that, team spirit around it. I think it's great.
Would you say growing up you were more of a tomboy, or you still have that kind of girly girl side of you?
I think I'm still definitely a tomboy. I do have a side of me. I have moments where I'm like, okay, let's go out and let me put makeup on and put fancy shoes on. But that feeling goes away really quickly. So I think I'm more of a, sneakers and flats and sandals type of shoes. Yeah. I'm not. But it comes out.
Yeah. And you grew up in Croatia, right?
Yes,
What was it like growing up there?
It was different. It was a tough time when I grew up because Croatia just got done with war. So the other day I went on Google Maps and I showed someone my house and there were still bullet holes in the house, and someone pointed out and I was like, oh yeah, those are bullet holes. Like I didn't even think about it because to me that was just normal growing up, and then you realize I did not grow up in the same environment as some people here. But Croatia is beautiful, absolutely an amazing country, lots to do, but unfortunately we are still recovering from that war, so you still feel it, and I'm very lucky to be here.
And how old were you when you came to the U.S., and was it a difficult transition for you?
Yes, I moved here when I was 16. So it was
That's a tough age already without even moving.
Yeah, it was horrible. I thought I could just go in there and just, go to school and be normal and just adjust to whatever life presents me with. But no, it was not easy. I didn't speak English. I didn't understand mentality of people. A lot of people thought of me as aggressive, which I'm just finding out. And I didn't think of myself as an aggressive person, but I think the way Eastern Europeans speak sometimes, and we use a lot of hand gestures, and we like to raise our voices. People really didn't feel comfortable at times speaking to me in high school, and I was always like, oh, why do I have trouble connecting with these people? And now 9 years later I know why.
It's like the same thing in I'm Chinese, and I think in our culture sometimes when we talk it's like you're loud, you're yelling at each other, but everything's fine. It's just the way people communicate.
Exactly. And I just see it. It's crazy. I just see it now when I'm older, when I actually take a step away from my family and I'm surrounded with a lot of American people and diverse people, not just American, but the people that don't act like that, and then I go back to my family and they do act like that. I'm like, oh wow, we are a bit aggressive.
I think it's passionate, and very expressive.
That's what my sister likes to say. So I'm not aggressive, I'm passionate.
yes. So in addition to being a champion fighter and you're currently training for your fight, you're also a student, right?
Yes,
so
correct.
What are you studying right now?
So I just started my first semester at California State University, Long Beach. And it's been amazing. It's definitely a new taste because I have gone to Irvine Valley College for the past 3 years. And now I'm in upper division classes and I'm meeting people that have more of my type of characteristics and, same interest. And it's been very, very, very fun meeting people that are kind of on the same page, and I'm enjoying it. Yeah, it's my third year, and I'm honestly, it hit me just the other day that I am third year, and then it's kind of it's coming to an end, and I don't want it. I feel like I just started.
What are you majoring in?
I'm majoring in kinesiology, so I kind of tied all my sports into my studies and make sure that I'm actually studying something that I'm enjoying, and I figured kinesiology would be the one.
That's cool. Yeah, it sounds like a good fit because that's about the mechanics of body movement, right?
Yes. So I'm learning all about how athletes think, how they move, how can diet and all of that affect your just mental performance as well as your physical performance. And it's not only helping me develop these things to help others, but it's helping me to actually perform in my own sports. So it's been very helpful.
Career-wise, do you see yourself becoming a professional fighter or becoming a coach or working behind the scenes, or how do you envision this?
It's tough because I work in law firm right now. I'm a paralegal and I deal with patents and trademarks. And yes, I do get to do a lot of, for example, knee braces, and I work with a lot of things that involve body movements and stuff like that, but it's not very kinesiology specific. And I really like it. But at the same time, I don't like being in the office all day. I really like being active. So I keep discovering new careers throughout my courses that I'm taking at Long Beach. And I'm discovering that maybe sports psychology and working with athletes in office and talking to them about these things would be fun. Or being a coach, or maybe even going into they have backpacking courses that I could do, and I can go into actual nature and live there.
Yeah, wow.
And there's so much that I can do, and I have not pinpointed yet what I really exactly want to do.
And I think that's totally fine. And I love that you're exploring and open to different options. Because for me now, looking back, I feel like when I was, high school and you have to figure out what you want to do, there's so many things that we can do, but we don't even know about it.
Exactly.
So I feel like you're doing lots of things and it could go so many different ways. And that's really exciting.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for it to hit and be like, oh, I really want to invest my time into this, like 100%. So, yeah.
So when you do have free time, which I feel like you're probably really busy, but when you do have time to yourself, what other things are you passionate about and how do you like to spend your time?
I do like just honestly going for a walk with no music, no distractions, just taking a 10-15 minute walk on my own. There's a lake nearby the house I live in, and I love it. It's a short little walk, and I've actually done it yesterday after my work. I like reading. I like listening to podcasts. But honestly, I don't have much free time, but when I do, I just like to relax. I like to let my mind just take a breather.
That makes sense because I feel like you're active all the time. So it's a good balance for you. And I feel like you have a really adventurous spirit. You mentioned, you can do these jobs where you're outdoors and kind of immersed in that. And I know you actually worked on a farm in Hawaii before. Can you tell me more about that experience? Because that sounds really fun.
I did. When I got out of high school, like you said, like we were so, we needed to figure out what to do. I didn't. And my parents were like, why don't you just go and travel? And I was like, okay, I could do that. And they're like, you should try backpacking. Just grab a backpack, go somewhere. America's huge. You have not explored anything other than California. So I was like, okay, like what can be cheap? I was like, Hawaii's not cheap, but I really want to learn how to surf. So I found this farm who was exchanging my work for food and accommodation. I said, okay, let's try it. If it doesn't go well, I'll just find something else or come back home. So I did. I went, and it was an amazing experience. I got to meet a lot of world-class travelers that were doing the same thing. And not only did I learn about organic food, and that completely changed my diet on that trip and kind of opened my eyes about food and how food affects your body and everything. It was just a very cleansing trip where I got to work a lot and I was not lazy, but yet I experienced so many things on the side, meeting new people, seeing Hawaii. I mean, I spent 6 months just hiking and seeing all the waterfalls and just walking around, waking up and be like, okay, what do I want to do today? Like, okay, let's go for a 5-mile hike. Okay, let's go. So it was amazing. It was definitely shaped me into a little bit of a better person.
And did you get to learn how to surf there?
I did, but I didn't really follow it. Like I learned it, and then when I got back home, I didn't really do it as much as I should. But I even ended up selling my board not too long afterwards. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with fighting.
But that's really cool that that idea, you wanting to learn how to surf and exploring took you on this path and you got to experience this life. Did you have to wake up really early? Was it tough?
Yeah, so my boss at the farm was actually the one who would taught me how to surf. Okay. And he would be like, okay, you gotta be by my car at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, why 5? Why can't it be 8? And he said, but we gotta surf and then we gotta come back and work. And I was like, okay. So yeah, but honestly, that was the best part of it, because at 5 o'clock in the morning, there's not very many people. It's so beautiful. I mean, if you wake up and experience that morning, the fresh air and quiet, that was my favorite part about it, honestly.
That sounds so beautiful. And I wish that, I feel like our lifestyles are so different, especially if you live in the city, but that sounds just such a beautiful way to live and experience life.
Yeah, even if it was for a little bit of 6 months, but it was worth it.
Yeah. Are you looking for somebody that's also as active and adventurous as you, or what kind of traits are you looking for in a significant other?
Yes, I think it's very important that the other person's active. I mean, there's so many weekends where I'm like, I want to do this, but I don't want to do it alone. And then my friends are not into it. And I was like, I want someone who's like, hey, I want to go hike this. And this other person like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Someone who's going to kind of follow me on my adventures. So yeah, I think it's definitely important that we meet there.
Do you have any deal breakers or turnoffs? besides someone who won't be adventurous and try new things?
Since I'm I would like to think of myself as independent, and I like to doing things like I'm not the type of person who's going to be embarrassed of sitting alone in a bar or a cafe or whatever, eating a breakfast. If I want to do something, I'll do it. So I think it's very important that the other person has that same ability of being independent and not depend on me as much, while them doing their own thing and following their own personal dreams and not being depending on me on any sorts.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
Like an equal partnership. Yeah. And you both have your own lives and the things that you want to achieve, and you can help them do it together, but you have your own interests and you do still have that independence.
Yes, it's so important. And my mom always told me, she said, like, even as a kid, she said, don't let boys mold your mind. Like, always do what you want to do and let them help you do it, And even with friends, she said, always like, boys will come and go, but your friends will always stay.
This is good advice. Moms always know best, right?
I know.
But I love that idea, because I think for both girls and boys, and maybe a little bit more for women, because I think we're very self-conscious of how we look. And, a lot of times I think people try to change who they are to get that guy or to get that girl. And it's nice to, believe in yourself and know yourself and not kind of have that happen and be who you really are.
Yeah, I know. I especially nowadays, I feel like when I have talks with maybe like new friends or new people, I see them, we have conversations and I see them molding their own words to fit me. And I say, you have your own opinions. You can disagree with me. That's okay. Yeah. I won't get mad at you. We can talk about it. So I think it's very important that the other person's comfortable saying their own opinions. So.
And how many relationships have you had?
Are we counting those like elementary? I'm just kidding. I would say, no, I had only one serious relationship, and I think I was still very young. I was about 21 years old when I entered it. And looking back at it, I thought I was mature, but I definitely wasn't.
I feel like we all think that. Yeah. We look back, we're like, no.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just one serious relationship for me now.
And so how did that relationship end, and kind of what did you learn from it?
It didn't end as I wanted it to end. It definitely, I don't keep in touch with the other person. I think he's a great guy. I think he has a lot of potential. Unfortunately, there was a lot of communications issue, and we weren't on the same page. And also, I think everything has to do with time. I think we had similar personalities. He was very active and ambitious, and we did a lot of things, but I was just starting school and college while he already finished school, and he was already on that path of like creating a career for himself, and it was just not a right time. But what I did learn is that communication is so important. It's one thing that breaks or makes it, I feel like, with the relationship. So I think that was the key that kind of broke us apart. So I was the one always who was talking, but the problem was that in 2 years that we were together, he did not go once mad at me or...
Oh, wow.
It was like, hey, Philippa, you're doing this wrong, or like, this really bothers me. And there was a point where I was like, hey, we've been together for 1.5 years. Is there something that bothers you? And he would be like, no, I get a little bit irritated and then I get over it. And I was like, anything that you want to talk about it? And he was like, no. And then there was one night where we were out having fun with friends and drinking and stuff, and he just blew up, and that was it.
Oh, man.
And so it did not end well, but I do wish him all the best.
No, you can't help it if you're perfect, and there's nothing wrong with you for him to get mad at. But, that's hard, and I feel like it's one of those things that you do have to learn by being in relationships, but to hold it in, I feel like that's something I've learned, that you can't do that, and you really have to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's nice for whoever is your significant other, because you have an open line of communication. So as long as they can return that, I think that would be a really good balance.
Yeah, and I think what I've learned and what I've heard from my ex-boyfriend is there's a lot of nowadays, especially in today's society, where men are perceived as these, like, you can't cry and you can't do this, you can't do it because you're a man. And I think that's where he was coming from, is that he had trouble opening up. He didn't want to cry, and he kept telling me like, oh, I shouldn't tell you this because you're a woman. I was like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
As long as you are able to express it, you know, it doesn't matter if it's a man or a guy or your mom, dad, like you need to be able to let it out. It's not healthy at all to hold it in.
That's so true.
No matter what it is, you need to talk about it. So yeah.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Do you have any crazy dating stories or experiences?
I do. I think my favorite crazy story is, it goes back to the 8th grade boyfriend who was not serious. That's why we didn't count it. But yeah, back home in Croatia, we lived right next to the president of Croatia.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and it was very secluded, and it was a lot of woods, and you know, it's very hard to go around. You could only get around if you have a car or a bus. And this guy that I knew, or my boyfriend in 8th grade, he lived on the other side of the president. And that day we were in school and I got upset and I was like, oh, I'm leaving. I'm not going to talk to you. And the same night I was going on a trip and he wanted to say goodbye. And I was like, well, I'm leaving in 30 minutes. And if you're not here, I'm out of here, you know. And he's like, no, wait for me. I'll be right there. And poor guy couldn't make it to the bus, so he actually ended up jumping over the fence over the president of Croatia's house and ended up getting arrested.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
So that was a good one. But other than that, I don't have any fun, interesting dating awkward stories. I feel like I've always been very lucky with that.
So when he got arrested, what did they do to him?
They actually just hold him in, and he was like, he actually said what was happening and said the whole story. So they couldn't reach his mom, so they called my parents, and then my parents had to pick him up. The whole cool part about this is that we actually got a chance to go into the house and into their whole like secret service.
Wow.
And like the cute, like awesome vans that have like all the computers in the back. And so that was kind of cool. We got to see like what happens behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what happened. So he ended up saying bye to me. So that was nice.
Yeah. So that all worked out. So I know you have a very active and full life to share with someone. And I know nowadays we are all so busy. So how do you see a relationship fitting into your lifestyle, and how would you balance it?
That's a good question. Yeah, definitely am busy. I think that goes back to me doing my thing and the other person being able to doing their thing. And, you know, at the beginning, it'll probably be tough because we won't be, you know, living together or might not see each other every day. But I think that's what's the key, is the communication and being able to talk about it and sharing those moments that you have, like very, very precious moments, you know. And but it's never gonna be time that I'm not gonna be busy. And yeah, it all goes back to me doing my thing and then being able to share with them and them doing their thing. So I think it's very important that the other person has their passion and wants to do other stuff and is not so depending on, let's hang out all the time and let's do this, let's go to movies, and being understanding that I might not have time to do that sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's just that understanding of what the expectations are and communicating, which is so important. So when do you want to settle down, and what does that look like for you?
Oh, I just had this talk with my boss yesterday. Because I just saw my old friend of mine, and she's my age, and she has 2 kids. And, you know, back when she had the first kid, I was like, oh my God, you are already having kids, and I'm just entering college. But looking back at it, I was like, now I'm like, I see where, like, I could trade you with my life. I could have this is, you know, like I never thought I would say, but I do see myself having kids. And yesterday I even said it to my boss, and I was like, I want to have kids. And he was like, wow, I would never hear you say that. But it's definitely, you know, I think 30, 35 would be a good age where I would be like, okay,
ready.
I don't have to be out 24/7 working, you know. I could dedicate a little bit of time to family and stuff and settle down. So
nice. Yeah, because you're 25 right now, right?
Correct.
So there's still time.
Yeah.
And then what goals and aspirations do you have for your professional life and also your personal life?
Let's see. For my professional life, I think my goal is just to be able to do something that I enjoy. I'm not very much money motivated. as much as I just want to be able to enjoy things I do. And then for my personal life, I want to stay active. Maybe keep up my martial arts, travel a lot more, meet people that are not like me, and I love seeing different perspectives. And that's also what's cool about Long Beach is there's so many different minds and perspectives. And sometimes I say something thinking like, oh, this is 100% true. And then the other person goes next to me, he's like, but it's not because this and that. I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Why didn't I think about that? So just meeting people and getting to know everyone, and I just enjoying life, honestly.
Yeah, there's a whole world out there.
Yeah.
So many people, so many possibilities.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you want to settle down in here in California because your parents are here, but your sister lives abroad still? And I know you're just open to traveling. So do you have a specific place that you feel like you want to end up at? Everywhere.
Everywhere. We are very lucky here in California. I mean, wow, you can go surfing and then you can go snowboarding the same day.
Yeah.
Where else in the world can you do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I would like to settle around here. Maybe not necessarily Irvine, where I'm at right now, but maybe, a little bit quieter place and a bit more secluded. Mm-hmm. Since I'm not into hectic lives of city.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm definitely open to other things. That's the magic about traveling is you go places and then you're like, oh my God, I could see myself living here, So I think California as of right now, it's definitely a place I would want to be in, but we'll see. Yeah. I'm open to other things.
I love that you said the magic of traveling, because I think traveling is so magical and people are more open. I think there's something about, being somewhere else and just being open to different things that people have such, great experiences.
Yeah, it's getting out of your comfort zone. I think that shakes you up a little bit, and then you're like, wow. And then you come back and you're like, oh my God, I'm so grateful that I have all of this. But then at the end, you're appreciating of other things that are out there. So
yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing with me today. I had so much fun talking to you. But before I let you go, I want to do some quick fire questions.
Ooh.
So yeah, I'm just going to go through a list and just tell me whatever you think of first.
Okay. Let's do it.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Big party or small gathering?
Small gathering.
Call you or text you?
Call me.
Dogs or cats?
Turtles? I'm kidding. Dogs.
Wait, by the way, have you seen that clip of that kid that says, I love turtles? I love that kid so much.
I actually joke about that kid all the time, really? Because when people ask me these questions, I was like, I like turtles.
Yes, I love that. Okay, the mountains or the ocean?
Mountains.
Messy or organized?
Organized.
Can you say love in Croatian?
Ljubav.
What superpower would you want to have?
Be invisible.
I already feel like you're kind of a superhero with all that you do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Would you rather do the dishes or the laundry?
Dishes.
What is something that's on your bucket list?
Doing the PCT trail.
Ooh. What's the first thing you notice about the opposite sex?
I think the hands.
Who is your celebrity crush?
I'll just go with, what's that soccer player? David Beckham.
That's the only soccer player I know. I was going to say.
He's so cute and such a family man. Anyways.
Yeah. Do you have any phobias?
Yes, snakes and needles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What is a pet peeve of yours?
Being unorganized.
What's your favorite podcast?
Joe Rogan.
If you find your significant other on this podcast, will you invite me to your wedding?
Absolutely. You'll get a VIP.
Oh, VIP seats. I love it.
And you'll have to make a speech too.
Okay. I'm going to prepare and start getting ready. Philippa, I had so much fun talking to you today, and thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for having me. This was awesome and fun.
Oh, I'm glad you had fun.
Thank you.
If you'd like to date Philippa or know someone who would be a great match for her, go to dateuspodcast.com to see her profile, a picture, and details on how to reach her. If you're single and would like to be featured on Date Us, submit an application on our website. Don't forget to subscribe and help us keep this podcast going by telling everyone you know about it. We'd appreciate that so much, and thank you for listening to today's episode.